Have you ever wondered why some people seem to command respect without ever raising their voice or proving their point? They walk into a room, say nothing, and yet everything shifts. They don't beg for attention. They don't scramble to explain themselves. They simply become less available. And somehow, that quiet retreat makes them more powerful than ever. This isn't mysticism. It's psychological reality, and it echoes the timeless wisdom of Carl Jung. In a world addicted to immediacy, overexposure, and constant connection, we've been conditioned to believe that being always available is a virtue. That answering every message, smoothing over every tension, and showing up no matter what equals love, loyalty, or strength. But what if that availability is actually the mask that's draining you? What if your constant presence is the very thing keeping you invisible? The truth is, when you stop being emotionally, mentally, and physically accessible to everyone at all times, everything begins to change. Not because you've become cold, but because you've finally chosen yourself. This decision isn't selfish. It's transformational. It's the beginning of what Carl Jung called individuation, the path to becoming your most authentic self. In this video, we'll explore how strategic unavailability shifts your energy, breaks manipulative cycles, and restores your inner strength. We'll dive into Jungian ideas like the persona, psychic energy, and projections, revealing how these forces shape your relationships, and more importantly, how you can take control of them. So if you're tired of giving until you're empty and ready to understand the silent power of pulling back, keep reading, because your peace doesn't need to be earned. It only needs to be protected. 1. The power of withdrawing. Humans crave control, and one of the easiest ways to exercise it is through our automatic responses. A predicted reaction gives people power. It allows them to direct your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. But the moment you step away from that script, by not replying, not explaining, or not engaging, the game changes. Others feel the sudden absence of your predictable patterns, and their control destabilizes. That silence isn't emptiness. It's a signal. And in its quietness, it speaks louder than any argument you could make. 2. Emotional availability as a pathway to manipulation. Whenever you're available, physically, emotionally, psychologically, you give. Yet, when that giving is rooted in pleasing others, it becomes draining. Forced yeses, urgent responses to messaging, emotional outbursts, they all chip away at your vitality, often without bringing satisfaction in return. Instead, lingering fatigue, frustration, numbness, or even resentment become the result. The worst part? Many don't deserve that attention in the first place. 3. Individuation. Choosing yourself. Jung defined individuation as the process of becoming whole through the integration of all elements of your psyche, and that often starts with saying no to what doesn't serve you. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's foundational. When withdrawal springs from awareness, not fear, it's a declaration of sovereignty, not rejection. Silence, in this context, isn't cowardice. It's presence, an expression of inner power. 4. Overavailability, the illusion of worth. Cultural programming often equates availability with virtue, but that's a lie. Constant presence and immediate responses become performance, a persona built to be liked, accepted, and loved. The irony is that the more visible and available you are, the more invisible you become, because you're playing a role, not being yourself. This role demands energy, and when energy is limitless, we burn. But real energy is finite. 5. Scarcity builds value. How boundaries shift dynamics. Abundance breeds neglect, especially with emotions. If your presence is guaranteed, people don't value it. It stops being special. But introduce scarcity, just a hint of unavailability, and suddenly, your time isn't worth less. You become sought after. Boundaries are not only acts of self-care, they're value reassessments. And people will reveal who they are by how they respond to those limits. If they judge your distance, it wasn't worth the closeness in the first place. 6. The economy of psychic energy. Jung saw consciousness as an energetic system. Thoughts, emotions, actions all consume psychic energy. Reactivity, especially impulsive responses to provocation, drains that energy. Defending yourself, explaining your motives, engaging in pointless debates, all of it siphons away your presence. Which you resist persists. The more effort you put into avoiding discomfort, the stronger that discomfort becomes, and the more you unwittingly empower it. Emotional exhaustion isn't weakness, it's misdirection. 7. Projections. When others use you. A projection is a psychological mechanism wherein someone attributes traits or expectations to you that belong to their own psyche. Overavailability makes you the perfect container for these projections. Others define you based on their desires, needs, fears. But when you stop playing this role, when you cease to project back, they're forced to confront their own emptiness. Rarely is that pleasant. People react with surprise, confusion, or even aggression. 8. Silence as strategic mastery. There's a difference between passive silence and strategic silence. The former is avoidance. The latter is choice. Conscious withdrawal allows space to observe, to reveal patterns, to disengage from chaos. By breaking the expected narrative, you claim your agency, but you also unsettle those who bargained for your emotional reactions. Such silence is not absence. It's a spotlight. 9. Solitude as transformation. Turning inward can be mistaken for rejection, but isolation, sacred, conscious isolation, is regenerative. It's not a retreat from life. It's an intentional space to listen to your own voice. Yes, standing firm in your boundaries may lead to criticism. You might feel lonely. But that loneliness is often the company of your true self, showing the rest of you the way home. 10. Rebirth through sovereign silence. When you commit to conscious unavailability, something powerful happens. Clarity replaces confusion. Peace replaces anxiety. You learn to value your soul's integrity over hollow connections. Others may distance themselves, but that space then fills with alignment. Relationships built on mutual respect, not convenience. This rebirth is the climax of individuation. It's less about who stays and more about who deserves. Practical steps to becoming selectively available. The path from automatic reactivity to soulful sovereignty is gradual, and it begins with simple, intentional actions. Here are steps to build your foundation. 1. Pause before reacting. Next time you feel triggered, wait one extra breath. Observe without needing to respond. 2. Practice saying, "Not now." It's okay to reclaim your time. "I'll get back to you," or "Let me think about that," is empowering. 3. Create physical distance. Closing a tab, silencing your phone, stepping away from a conversation, these are all practical ways to reset. 4. Honor internal voices. When exhaustion whispers, listen. Say no to what steals your energy, even if it feels unfamiliar at first. 5. Reject the urge to explain or justify. You don't owe anyone a reason for your absence. If they value you, explanation won't be needed. 6. Read Jung's concepts. Dive deeper into projections, shadow work, persona, and conscious withdrawal. His work gives these ideas a profound framework. What to expect. Expect discomfort for yourself and others. Maybe. Feelings of guilt or selfishness, accusations of coldness or aloofness, reactions of confusion or frustration from others, and an urge to collapse back into old habits. These aren't signs you're failing. They're signs you're becoming real, and that reality can't be tolerated by those who preferred your script. The echo of your absence. When you stop being available, you're not disappearing. You're reclaiming. You're no longer offering your energy to people, situations, or dynamics that drain rather than nourish. That absence sends ripples, not just through your relationships, but through your own psyche. It creates space for clarity, for healing, for authentic connection. This isn't about cutting people off impulsively or building walls out of bitterness. It's about choosing who and what is worthy of your time, your emotions, your presence. It's about honoring the truth that your value does not depend on constant accessibility. You are not more lovable, more worthy, or more needed because you are always available. You are valuable simply because you are. Stepping back can feel counterintuitive in a world obsessed with visibility and instant response. But in the sacred quiet of your chosen unavailability, you begin to hear what really matters. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop proving and start being. And here's the beauty. When you live aligned with your own boundaries and energy, the people who respect that will stay. The ones who depended on your overextension will fade. Both outcomes are a gift. Your silence is not empty. It is full of meaning, full of power, and full of potential. It is not rejection. It is revelation. So choose your availability wisely. Let your absence speak where your presence was once taken for granted. And most of all, let that space become the canvas where your most authentic self finally has room to emerge.